Hello. Welcome to episode 9 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. We're going to be hacking on Firefox. It's going to be a great time. I hope you're looking forward to it. Let's dig right in. First of all, I'm trying something new. I'm using a new version of the broadcasting software that I use to do this. And uh, now, hopefully you can see me in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. So now you can watch my mug as I as I work on stuff. I don't know if that's going to make things more or less interesting, but now you can see what I do with my face at the same time that I'm, hacking on things. So let's take a look at the agenda. Here's today's agenda. So as usual, I'll start with my preamble that no plan survives breakfast. Hopefully that we get like more or less through this list of things, but it's possible that something else will pop up while I'm doing this and I have to change tack abruptly. That just happens, so it could happen. Just be prepared for that. We're in hash live hacking on irc.mozilla.org if you want to join us and chat, talk about what's going on. Uh, so I think this is actually an out of date. I copy paste a lot of uh, a lot of stuff from like agenda to agenda, so that line is out of date, so ignore that. So basically what's going on is we're back to hacking on view source. I'd started this last week. I'm trying to make view source work properly with multi-process Firefox so that we don't hit the network whenever we're viewing the source of a document, because sometimes that'll happen with E10S. Only with E10S. For non-multi-process Firefox, which is synonymous with E10S, I kind of use the two interchangeably. If we're in non-E10S, non-multi-process Firefox, view source works just fine. It's only in multi-process Firefox where we run into this problem, and I'm trying to fix that. And so this is the bug. If you're looking at the agenda, you can read the bug, and here are my notes that I'll be referring to a lot during the course of this video. This might be a long haul. I mean, I think last week I went for about 2.5 hours. Probably I'll end up going about the same length this week. Hopefully that's okay. Feel free to come in and out, or just watch the video whenever, like, the recording's posted at the end if you have to bail out. That's fine. So any updates? I haven't really done any work on this. Like I said, I only want to work on this when I'm streaming so that you get to see the whole process from start to finish. So I haven't done any work on this view source stuff from the last episode to this one. But that doesn't mean activity hasn't happened. So we wrote a brief patch last week to for this bug, 1150120, which was to pass the outer window ID of the frame that the user might have selected with the context menu up with the context menu message up to the parent, and I got a review plus with some conditions on it. So that's a thing I think we can land today, assuming the tree is open when we want to land it. And if at some point we get blocked, maybe I'm stuck waiting for an answer to some question, I have this patch in this bug that I could potentially review. We'll see. We'll see if we get there. So let's get started. The first thing to do is so this is my terminal. I've updated to the change set we were working on last time. So that's this, I think it was called Modernized View Source to use a frame script. But in the meantime, I've been working on other stuff. I've been hacking on different bugs. I didn't just nap between last week and this week. So in that time, I've pulled from Mozilla Inbound, or I've pulled from Central, and so this patch needs to be rebased on top of the latest stuff I've pulled. So what I'm going to do is rebase on top of tip. If I take a look at graphlog, I have actually I don't want to rebase on top of tip. I want to rebase on top of here. So that's what I will do. Rebase. Oh, nope. I want to make that the destination. So I've got the the view source branch or change set checked out, and I'm going to rebase it on top of this change set, which is actually the tip of inbound, at least as of about an hour ago, because I pushed this stuff to inbound. So let's rebase it, and we might have to do some conflict resolution. Hopefully not, because view source is mostly code that no one touches, but you never know. So here we go, doing a rebase. Hey, we do have some conflicts, so this is kind of part of the gig. Let's figure out how to resolve these. So it looks like um, content type and content disposition have been added as well in the sync message up to the parent regarding the context message. So I just want to add my frame outer window ID stuff here, or window ID, and I can take that and anything else, no, so I don't have to worry about that. So I will mark that as resolved, space content, content.js. What else is conflicted? Probably the same problem in terms of context menu stuff. Yeah, it's the same thing. So content type and content disposition were added here. I just want to add frame outer window ID while I'm at it. And that's it. We can probably mark that resolved and continue our rebase. So tab browser. So we rebase, continue, go, go, go. I know at least one person is reporting in IRC that they're having a hard time seeing the stream. Raphael is saying that they can't see the stream. If you're watching this and you're in live hacking, let me know if the stream is working or not. That'd be good to know, because I really hope that you're all able to see this stuff. Okay, so I rebased on top of this change set, and here's our stuff. Okay, let's see. Richard also wants to know to make sure that the stream is working correctly. So please let us know if you are watching this and you are in hash live hacking. Hey, the inbound tree just opened. That's good. Okay, so where am I? I'm now at the tip of the stuff that I rebased, and I'm going to build the tree. And while Mike Taylor reports in hash live hacking, says looks good to me, so that bolsters my confidence. Meanwhile, I am building the stuff I just rebased, and while we're waiting for that build to finish, we can start kind of refamiliarizing ourselves with what we were doing. And oh, Tefra is also reporting in that the stream is working fine, so this is all good. My confidence is bolstered. So let's see if we can refresh memories in terms of what we were doing last week and where we got. And the way I like to do that is with my notes. So I have my notes here. Where would it be? Make it so that, yeah, this one. 1025146, that's right. So this is how I swap in context. And let's see where I was. So this was our attack plan last week, and we got about this far. And then these are the things that I have to do next. So it looks like there are cases where document is not passed to view source utils view source, and I don't think I had accounted for that. Yeah. Yeah, I had not accounted for that. So I need to account for that. And then I also have to account for the case where in the view source Zool document, which can be opened directly from, open dialog or whatnot, if someone passes in an NSI SH entry as an argument, which we definitely don't want to work with that, or we do, I think, oh yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to sort of treat that behavior, opening with NSI SH entries, as being sort of the old behavior, and I think we still want to support it, but deprecate that behavior. And then I can also land this context menu patch. I can actually probably do that to start. That might be a good way to feel good about myself, is to like land a thing. So let's land a thing. So what was that patch number? Here, 1144969. Nope, that's not the right one. What one was it? This one, yes. And Gabor gave it a review plus, but I think he had some conditions here. He had some nits. This .target.owner document is used a few times in this section and below. Shouldn't we add a... Yeah, we can add a shortcut for it. And he doesn't like my trailing comma. So I'm okay with fixing those things. Maybe we should just fix those right now and move on. And then land this thing. So even though I'm building right now, I'm going to go ahead, because I'm not, the changes that I've made between like where I'm about to check out and where I am right now in my currently checked out change set is not binary. It's all just JavaScript stuff. So I feel reasonably confident checking out a different part of the tree while I'm building. So I want to check out this stuff. The bottom of my screen is, you can't see it. Sorry. There we go. So I'm checking that stuff out, and now let's address Gabor's review feedback, make sure it works properly, and then let's land that puppy. We'll land it on FX Team because it's a browser change, so it'll go on FX Team, which is a different. It's not inbound. We have a whole bunch of different branches that they're integration branches that we land on, and then our tree sheriffs merge them. It's all it's all quite magical. Sorry for the cough. Okay, so I've checked out that patch. Let's take a look at Gabor's feedback again. It's in NS context menu that I want to make the first change. I think it's a good suggestion to... come on. NS context menu. This is the one, and that was on line 616. So somewhere down here. Actually, I know a shortcut. 616. There we go. So he's saying that we make reference to this target owner document a lot. We make reference to it here, here, and here. And he's saying, well, why not just like have a variable for it, a shortcut, because we're using it all over the place. I think that's a fine idea. So let's call it owner doc equal this.target owner document. And we will refer to it here. So I will say owner doc, and then I have to fix this indentation. Boom. And then over here, I also want to use owner doc. And then I should check any of the surrounding code, make sure I haven't missed any cases where I'd want to use owner doc. This indentation was already kind of weird, and I added it. So what do we want to do here? Like that? How many characters? That's 82. It's not amazing. F it. Line up the dots. Okay, so there's also this reference to owner document. So I will say owner doc here. And let me just check. I should probably do this with yeah, there's another one. And I think we're still in, yeah, we're still in context. Owner doc. And where are we now? Yeah, we're still inside. So we still have reference to owner doc. So I can say owner doc default view. And there's another one down here. And another one down here. And that, I think, concludes... I mean, these are all outside that function. Let me just do a quick double check. Again, maybe there's some stuff up here that should use it. Actually, to be absolutely certain, excuse me, I will copy and paste this entire chunk of code. I don't know if this is a very smart way of checking, but I will check for owner document in this. Okay, so this is the only reference to it, and we never. This should be fine, is what I'm thinking, and I should test it, and I will test it. But that change has now been done. So done. Next, he doesn't like my trailing new line or trailing comma at the end of tabbrowser.xml. What was it? Frame owner? No, frame outer. this thing. He didn't like my trailing comma. Actually, hang on. Let's take a look at the patch. Let's see where, if did the previous incarnation have a trailing comma? It did. So I'm going to push back against this one. Because one of the reasons that I like to have a trailing comma is that if you end up adding more stuff to this list, and we're adding stuff all the time to this list, as you saw when I got sort of bit rotted here, is that when you add more things to the list, you have to have a comma before the last item. Like you have to add a new comma. And that changes the blame of the line. And by blame I mean like you have now changed that line so that you are the last person to have touched it, even though what you did was mostly like just sort of not useful work, just adding a comma. And that change in blame history can be a pain in the butt for someone who's looking for the provenance of this line. Like, where did this line come from? It just adds another step for them. So, what I'm going to push back a little on that. Let me see if Gabor is cool with that. If he is an IRC, I will ping him, and then we'll have a chat. I'll bring my chat window over once I'm sure he's cool with chatting in the open like this, or like chatting on being recorded, um, and then we'll talk to him. So in the meantime, I will just commit the work that I've done, and let's test it. So let's see. I'm here. When I commit, I'm gonna cause these two change sets to be obsolete, so I'll evolve them on top. So commit, amend. Gabor. Oh, Gabor has ponged. Hey, live hacking right now, and I had a question about your review for bug 1150120. Mind if we talk about that and our conversation is streamed live? So make sure he's cool with that. So that I'm committing, and that should cause two change sets to go obsolete. Waiting for Gabor to respond. Waiting. Okay, and now I'm going to evolve these two change sets that just went obsolete. I'm going to evolve them on top, which is basically replaying them or rebasing them on top. So HG evolve, do it. Perfectly valid answer. No obligation. Evolving. Come on. Okay, so evolved and window on the screen. I'm just having a conversation with Gable right now, kind of explaining what live hacking is, making sure that he's cool with me having a conversation with him like this live. Currently, this. Okay, so he's given his thumbs up. I'm bringing my IRC window over. Hey, so regarding your last knit on your review for bug 115.0.12. Thanks for the review, by the way. Always thank your reviewer. You ask me to remove the trailing comma, but the line above had the trailing comma. And I'm wondering if we want to keep it just so that if more things get added to that list, which, let's face it, they will, we don't end up changing the blame on the last item just to add a comma. So let's see if he's cool with that. And then if he is, we will test this patch. Actually, we can, while we're waiting, we can test it right now. Actually, I shouldn't, I should check to see how my build's doing. It's actually, we're getting close to the end here, so I will be able to test this soon. And then we can land it. Landing is super satisfying. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Okay, while we're waiting, let's see, I will keep this window here, and I will bring up my notes, and I will do that. And let's think about some stuff. So I can hide this stuff. Can I? Oh well, alright. Reading it all thin like. I thought that this is the reason for it, and I like the idea in general. I drop that in it. Okay, cool. Am I okay to drop that in it? So one thing I want to think about is the case where document is not being passed to view source, because I'm pretty sure I had made an assumption in here where, oh, you know what? I don't have the right revision checked out. But I'd made an assumption where document was being passed. I just sort of assumed that anyone calling this function is going to pass document, and that's not the case. So I have to account for that case. Right. And the reason I need to account, I think I was doing a lot with that document. Like I was using it in order to work, to basically find all of the things that the frame script needs to do its job, and then I, I was passing that to the passing that to the view source dot zool, I guess. But the I can't count on a document being around, so I hadn't taken that into account, and I need to correct that. So Gabor says, one question, is this something we often do? I mean that coin-style guidelines should either mention that case or we should stay consistent. It's one of those things I see all over the place, but no, I don't think it's codified anywhere. I'm fine with dropping, just wondering if I should start using this practice and encourage others to do so as well. I think it makes sense for lists that are likely to increase to change. Okie dokie. How's our build doing? I think we're getting down to the nitty gritty. We should be linking soon, if I'm reading this right. I mean, all the building occurs in parallel, so I can't really say with any certainty where we are in the whole build process, but even though it's non-deterministic, I do feel like there are patterns, or I feel like I can see patterns, and I feel like, especially because this is, maybe I'm mostly basing it based on how much time has gone by, but I'm pretty sure the build is almost done. Maybe it should be then, but that's another story, says Gabor. Indeed. So I think that I will interpret that as Gabor saying it's cool for me to drop that issue. So I think that conversation is done. And I will take this off the screen, and I will bring this over here. I could probably just do that. Whatever. Come on, OCD. There we go. Um, okay. So I really want to test that. Haven't got that build done, so we're waiting. And what I will do in the meantime while we're waiting is recheck out the tip so we can take a look at the code that we had written and start making plans. So let's go back up here. And any changes I do should probably occur in this second change set because that's about modernizing view source utils. So that's just more of a note to myself. Okie dokie. So the thing to realize, document deprecated, optional. That's what I should write in here, actually, because I'm going to already start making changes. Let's go back one change set. Build's still going. Here we go. Okay, so document deprecated, optional. And this one was also optional. In fact, I'm pretty sure all three of these are optional. Okay. You know what? I don't really like the deprecated. Like, if I'm gonna put the state of them in there, whoop, then I might as well put them all together. Deprecated, optional, and then line number, deprecated, optional. Sorry, the backspace key is very close to the volume key. All right. So then what do I do? I check to make sure that if it exists, that we make sure that it is not a cross-process wrapper. So I should do this if document and. So that way we can eliminate the case where someone is attempting to use the old deprecated API here using a kapow. If you're using a kapow, you're doing it wrong. That's the decision. Okay. And then what do I do? So then I started to like do things in order to construct the arguments that the caller needs. But that doesn't work if the document doesn't exist. So I have to account for document not existing here. So if not a document, I'm wondering if maybe what the best structure for this is. Let's see. This is in the case that document does exist, and then that's all we need. We can construct the rest. In the event that document doesn't exist, then all we get is the URL. And in that case, we just need to pass the... Oh, we can't get at the browser. What are we gonna do? So view source is called, and someone just passes in a string for the URL. What did we... Like, what does the current code do? Whoops, wrong browser window. What does the current code do? Has just joined live hacking. Hello, what appears to be 20 Gs. Thank you for joining us. I guess in the event that we're just passing in the URL, do we really need the browser? I guess the only reason that we want to pass in the browser is if we need to ensure that the browser is remote, or see if the browser is remote, and we also need it so that in the remote case that we can make sure that the browser is running in the right process. But in this case, we're just passing a URL. There's no chance that we're going to attempt to like retrieve this from the BF cache. So I think we're okay to just have view source go into the like a particular mode that only attempts to get it back off the network. And if a document does exist, then we can do this stuff. Okay, so let me write that down. We have not been passed a document, which means that there is no chance that we'll attempt to load the source from the BF cache. We are definitely going to be loading off of the network because the only information we have is the URL. Okay. In that case, args equals, and then we should pass in like the URL and maybe some way for the receiver of the message to know that we're in a particular mode, as opposed to just implying it from the lack of a browser. You know what? No, I think just passing in the URL is fine. A args or URL and line number. That should be enough information. So if we see that, then we know that we're just getting it off of the network. This is the else case. This is getting a little complicated. Lots of decisions here. Else, we were passed a document from which we can infer the arguments that the new API takes. So here we would get the requester, the interface requester, which allows us to get the browser and the outer window ID, and that is good. And in the other case, we throw in these cases. I don't know if we need to throw in the event that the URL is missing. The outer window ID might be enough. I think the URL is only ever passed if for some reason it's the outer window ID, like the BF cache entry for this for the content window with this outer window ID has been like cleared or something. So I think we can actually get rid of that. Okay, and then we would call it in here. I'm going to put this in braces. I'm also going to put a to-do for myself in the code. I like to put these in because my code review tool, like I like to grep around for to-dos, and that way I know that I don't commit with this stuff. To-do, handle the external editor case. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do in that case. And in open an internal viewer, we just pass the args. Good. So we have simplified the way that view source utils works, I think. In a way, I was kind of hoping that we could then clamp down on the way viewSource.zool works, but that some people are calling directly into it and passing arguments, which means that like maybe maybe I'm getting distracted by my internal innate desire to make things better and simpler. Like I did all this work last week to like get all of these values, but maybe this work I'm doing in here should actually be done inside viewsource.js on the other side. What's the reason that I wouldn't do that? Because viewsource.zool and viewsource.js are the ones that eventually are called, and like Thunderbird and SeaMonkey and stuff will directly call viewsource.zool with those arguments. I'm really starting to think that that might be the better choice, and like, that's not so bad. I mean, we don't have to throw all this away. It's just that some stuff might need to like a lot of the stuff might need to get moved. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. Shoot. Sorry about that. That's what happens. So that means we don't have to throw any of this away. We just move it. And I think it's a good idea to keep this renamed args or URL. And over time, as we like, maybe I'll land a patch for SeaMonkey and Thunderbird eventually to like have them use the new API, and then we can get rid of this other stuff and simplify a lot of this. But until then, I think what we should do is move this. I'm just kind of revving myself up to do it and thinking it through. Then open an internal viewer. I was supposed to do this stuff, but we'll just do it down in the view source.js. Right? Except that in the old scenario, we get this is force char set and char set. I might have to keep doing this. Okay, let's put this back for now. While we're here, we can get rid of that trailing white space. But we should also make sure that this is never called with a kapow. But actually, maybe, yeah, we'll do that down here. Now let me think about this again, because I'm wondering if maybe some of this work could be done. No, because if we want to support the old API this way, I think we have to do it this way. Shoot. Okay. So then this should be, what was it? Boom. I need that back. And this was args or URL. And then this stuff will all go away up here. And then I have to whoop, and then that was already broken. Whoop. Okay. And then I think we have to change the way we call here. A args or a URL. It's a tragedy. This had all gotten cleaned up, but now I'm backtracking a little bit. Oh well. So I'm actually just going to get rid of this for now. And you know what? This to do, I can just turn into a checkbox here in my notes. Maybe I even had it already. Yeah, I already had it, so that's what happens. And I don't actually need interfaces. I can just get const cu. I can actually should probably just do if a document and components dot tills. Okay. Actually, we also have an if a document down here. I don't want to lose this code. Let me just drop that there for now. And what I'll do is I'll move this check inside here where we already have the if document condition. If, and we'll throw cool. And inbound is closed again. Boo. Our build is done. We can actually let's stop for a second and go back to landing that patch that Gabor had reviewed. So I will commit and evolve. Actually, I won't. Yeah, I'll evolve. We have to evolve anyways whenever I change Gabor stuff. I also will need to pull from I guess FX team. I'm gonna push to FX team. Let's see how FX team is doing. FX team is open. The tree is open, so this is where I will land the work. Do 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 do. Come on, Mercurial. Evolve. Evolve! Do it. Okay. We are done evolving. And now I want to... I don't think there was any more work to do there. We just needed to test it. So let's test it. I'll just do a quick rebuild because I want to make sure that none of this view source stuff. So I'll just components, view source, just rebuild that stuff because that's the only stuff that changes in those last two. And then I'll run. And I just want to test to make sure that like context menu stuff works in the eTNS and non-eTNS case. So these work. What about in the watch people code? I failed to put the my entry here in the subreddit watch people code. So the number of people might have dropped this week. Hopefully not by too much. So this seems to work. Like the context menu. I don't know if you heard that. I just got a kapow from closing the an unsafe kapow from closing the tab. That's known. But like if the document thing, owner doc thing was a problem, I would probably, because it happened so early on in that function, I would imagine that I would be seeing errors, things would not be working. So I'm reasonably confident. I have a high degree of confidence. So I'm going to say that this works. That was what we call a smoke test, and just make sure that like nothing is crazy broken. So let's pull FX team. I will rebase this change set on top of the tip of FX team. I will push it. I will update the bug. And why tell you? I will show you. Let's do it right now. Pull FX team. So we get the latest stuff. Bunch of change sets come in. And now, let's see, let's take a look at them. Great. Now I will rebase. Where was I? Down here. Let's rebase all three of them. So HG rebase R, that to here, to the tip. Done, and it merges some stuff. Great. So now we should be able to just commit this. So let's make sure there's nothing new all of a sudden landed on FX team that makes us rebase again. We are good. And if I say outgoing, for some reason, if I use the FX team alias when pushing, I get like some error. That's not even a repository. FX team, there we go. Make sure it's just the one going out, and let's take a look at it. Last double check. I'm pretty paranoid. I don't like to burn the tree. Looks good. All those switches from owner document to owner doc. Looks good. Looks good. Oh, yeah, I wanted to put that comma back. That's something I missed. That's why you always check. That's why you always leave a note. So I want to put that comma back. So I will commit, amend that, and evolve the others on top. Then whenever I push this thing, I'm going to make reference to the fact that I fixed one thing. Like, you know what? I'll just stop explaining what I'm going to do. I'll just do it. Because that way you don't have to like hear about it twice. Doom ba doom boom. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Mercurial. Okay. So that's done. And I will push it now. 268, 363. Make sure that's checked out. And now I will push. Actually, I like to visually make sure that I've got the right one. Yes, that's what I want to push. I don't want to push either of my work in progress batches. So push, and then integration FX team. Come on. This is always so tense. Yes. All right. Pushed, and it worked. So now what we do is we go to the bug that this patch belongs to, 115.0120. And I will refresh, make sure there hasn't been any conversation in here. And now I will reply. So, looks good to me. So, always thank your reviewer. Thanks for the fast review. Gabor. Good idea. Done. That's the one I did do. In IRC, Gabor and I talked about this, and we think we'll keep the trailing comma so as not to require future coders to change the blame on the final item when adding new items just by adding a comma. Landed on FX team as boom, done. And now I will say in the whiteboard fixed in FX team, and that's it. Save changes. Good. So let that bake on FX team, and eventually, hopefully, fingers crossed, it will merge. And then in the meantime, I can keep working on the other two patches. So I actually rebased on top of some FX team stuff, so while I'm working, I will kick off yet another build in the background. Build? But that's okay. I don't think this will be as long a build. I didn't pull that much stuff. And it was all from FX team, so chances are it's mostly JavaScript. So only should take a minute or two. So where was I? I want to move, like I put in this little guard here to prevent us from accessing things on the kapow. And then what I want to do is actually go to the next patch, now that I think about it, because the next patch is the one where I modernize the viewSource.js, which is what I want to do with this stuff. So that's done. I am nexted. And the main entry point is here. And then this load args thing is what I was dealing with. And right, I started to work on this last week, and this is like hauntingly familiar in that like this is what I was basically doing over here before. So I was kind of repeating myself, which is not a thing I like to do. Caller is using the modern API, and we can just return that as our arguments. Yes. Now, what is the other case? The other case is that the caller is not using the modern API, and we might not even be able to do this if the caller has not passed in the document. So that's something that what we end up doing in here has to take into account. Like if we end up only having a URL and a line number, which would be the case if we didn't get a document, that we just kind of have to roll with it. So maybe I should put in a comment there. If the caller didn't pass us a if our arguments don't include a browser or a or an outer window ID, we must be loading the source from the parent process, and we'll hang on, didn't include a browser. So they might have passed us a page descriptor, but if they didn't include a browser or an outer window ID, then we must be doing it in the non-ETNS mode. Okay. I guess that's how we differentiate. Or maybe what would be simpler is if instead of like trying to work backwards and generate the same stuff, We had two completely separate code paths. I don't like doing that. I don't like doing that. Well, maybe it's not a bad idea because like the legacy API is something I want to eventually get rid of, and if they're two separate code paths, that makes it really easy to get rid of the old one without having to mix them together. Um, so maybe that's something I can do here. I can have like the modern API method and a um, legacy API method or deprecated API method. And then whenever I deprecate, I just get rid of the deprecate API method. And it's all based on the stuff we are passed. How's our build doing? Wow, okay, I'm building. I assumed it would only take a couple of minutes, but apparently something on FX Team really touched something deep. Um, that's a surprise. Okay. Thinking. So at the very least, we know that the first argument will either be a string or an object. And really, I think that's our way of knowing whether or not we're using the modern or the legacy API. That's it. Like, I think that's it. That's the decider. Um, we're using the modern API for view source. I don't know if that comment adds much. So, um, actually equals string. Because that's what it will be in the event that it's a string, right? Like, let me just refresh my memory. Type of hello is a string. Okay. If it equals a string, then let's use onload view source legacy. Otherwise, so we're using the legacy API, or maybe I should call it deprecated to make it deprecated API. Modern API, which allows us to view the source of documents from out of process browsers. And then I think we can keep that. I think we can get rid of this because that's already... Oh, it's the exact opposite. I don't think we want this at all anymore. What we really want this to be is like this. And then do all this stuff. Now, what are we going to send down? Like, we're going to probably call a special frame script. Like, because we're going to use a frame script no matter what, even if it's a non-remote browser. But we'll send it, like, things that would normally be kapows in the E10S, the multi-process scenario. So that's what we'll do this. I don't think we need to do that anymore. Let args. Args is So window.arguments. Window.arguments. Oh. In the modern API, we must be past the browser and an outer. We must be past the browser. We don't have to be past the outer. Well, we probably should be past the outer window ID. But it's also possible that we just want to view source from some URL. So actually, we don't have to be past anything. Okay. So then what do? At some point, we need to like send a message down. This view source thing is like, this is what makes a bunch of decisions. I have a feeling this is what's going to eventually go into the like the frame script. So let's get a frame script going up. So under toolkit, components, view source, content. Oh, we already had one. What? Where did this come from? Did I add this? Where is this even part of? Did I add this? It's not part of the patch. Is it like part of the content? Is it tracked even? Nope. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. So it was something I probably added at some point, but just I never did anything with it. So I might as well reuse it. So I'll add it now. Make sure I'm on the right. I'm still on tip, right? Yeah. So we're in this thing, and I think we can actually get rid of all that stuff. No, that was probably useful. So there's the modern API support, and then there's the deprecated API support. So let's see. A view source. View source. I don't know if there's any other message to send down. Like, I think it's just view source, and then some message handler. Let me see. How do I want to do this? View source, and then add message listener, view source, deprecated. This cannot be called when this should not be called if this frame script is running in a content process. So we should probably like assert that or something, like if there's a way to check I think it's process type. You can make sure that the process type is the default process type. What happened to my network? Come on. Come on. I actually just had to check to make sure I was still on the network. I probably wouldn't hear about it for a while from people if all of a sudden my network just dropped. I wouldn't know until long afterwards when I rejoined and someone said, "What? Your stream died halfway through." So DXR is currently unavailable. Great. Switching to MXR. Always have a backup plan. What was I looking up? Process type. Always have a backup plan. MXR. Probably this is getting bogged down from everyone switching from DXR. Here we go. Services app info. Process type. So I probably should const. What is that pattern? I'd used it before. I think it's like const. I use this all the time to begin new scripts. Um, Actually, I probably just need const cu equals components.utils, and if I need the others, then I'll bring them in using that destructure pattern. If, and then I need to import services, cu.import resource services JSM. If services app info process type equals the content process, that's bad. Or you know what I should do is make sure it's to be more strict. If we're anything except the parent process, then we should throw or something. View source deprecated should not be deprecated API should not be used from with remote browsers. Boom. Okay, so from here on out, we know that we're in process and we can do a lot of like things that we normally couldn't do because we know that we're not dealing with kapows, we're dealing with direct references to things that have just been passed to us. And it's only over here that, we've only been passed things that can be serialized via JSON. Okay, so my build is done. That's great. What are we going to do? So we have this script. Oh, I should also probably start it off with the MPL. New scripts always start with the MPL. Do I have a copy of that around? Yes. Great. So now we're ready to listen to stuff, and we need to make sure that this frame script is loaded. So back over here in view source, if we're dealing with a remote browser, then the browser for view source needs to be remote as well. If args.browser and args.browser is remote browser, then gbrowser.set attribute remote true. I also have to make sure that the remote browser binding is used. View source CSS. So browser remote equals true. Where is this? Source.css. That's used here. Okay. Browser remote equals true, and then I have to use the remote browser binding, which is this. Pretty sure I can just do that. I'm just curious to know what's extending remote browser in here. I wasn't aware that we ever... Oh, we extend it. Especially, all special like. We probably don't need this, especially because this is toolkit, so we don't even have access to this. So, that's probably good enough. Right. So that's done, that's done. And then over here, So that binding is attached now, and now we need to load the frame script. So gbrowser.messageManager load frame script, and then the frame script is also a thing that we need to make sure that we reference here. Content global view source content.js, content view source content.js. Is this in any kind of order? Doesn't look like it. And I didn't even, there, like that. Content global view source utils, content global, right. So I can probably just make reference to this from global content view source content. Content view source content.js. Message manager. I just want to make sure this is not actually, is this called again ever? Good. I don't want to re-enter. Make sure. This is called unload of the window. I better make sure this isn't called every time like something is loaded, like a document, a new source document is loaded. Like if one clicks on a link, I need to make sure this isn't called again. Okay, so that I can shorten to this. And then I think I'm going to just tear a bunch of... I'm not going to tear it out. I'm just going to get rid of it for a sec because I'll probably have to adapt all this to be multi-process friendly. And then I guess we want to just send a message. Send async message. Use source. Now what about the deprecated case? In the deprecated case, we still want to load this frame script. So we've got an ordering problem here. We can probably... So hypothesis. My hypothesis is that we can do this up here, and then even if we flip the remoteness, we don't have to reload the frame scripts. It'll get loaded again as soon as the browser rebinds to the tree. So that's the hypothesis. Let's make sure. So I think we've done this. I need to ensure that if the view source browser switches from non-remote to remote, that we don't need to reintroduce the frame script. Okay. View source, and then we pass it our arguments, the subset of arguments. So what are the things that it might need to know? The URL, args.url. What else? What are the things that we pass up here? The outer window ID. And then the line number. And that's it. So let's see if we can just get this far. Let's see what happens. And then if the content process can hear about it, then we will say like Yahoo! And then message.data will dump it out. JSON.stringify. Okay. I have a feeling this is not going to work properly. That's just because, like, the first time never works. So let's assume it will not work and figure out what's wrong by uh, giving it a run and seeing how far we get. So I have to redo that make sure that like the content script is being loaded. Anything in here that's saying things are horribly wrong? Nope. Okay, so let's go to a remote page. Let's go to, sure, watchpeoplecode.com. And now I will open view source. Oh, why do you play automatically? Don't do that. I don't think I should go here again. The videos play automatically and deafen me. Um, page source. Bunch of kapows get passed. I heard those in my ear, and then something went wrong. What went wrong? Nothing opened. This open in internal viewer is not a function. So I told you, something always goes wrong, and that's because I changed the name of this function to have an underscore in front of it. And the reason I did that is because I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to audit these and make sure that most of these are pseudo private methods with the underscore in front of them. So that was a dumb mistake on my part, and I will rebuild real quick. And let's try that again. Let's go to a different page. Let's go to my website. I will attempt to view the source. I'll also open up the console and view the source. View source cannot accept a kapow as the document. Okay, so a kapow is being passed as the document. So a bunch of and then I'm attempting to view the source. So like that was a reflex. I wanted to see where the problem was, and that involves the view source um, window, which is broken. So I can't do it. But I know where that's happening. I mean, I threw that myself. And that's happening over here because I haven't adapted any of my callers to use um, the new API. So I should actually do that. I should change the callers. Now, where are all the callers? They would all be making reference to gview source utils. So DXR is still down. So we'll switch to MXR. So there's one over here. And there's one here for the HUD service. Let's just do the one here in browser. We'll have to fix the other ones eventually. That is definitely true, but I will get to those. Let's see. gview source utils. Here. And then we pass all this stuff. Right. So I think we can go ahead and tear all this out. We don't actually want to do this stuff ever in the parent process. Not in Firefox anyways. The other apps, sure. Not in Firefox. So I'm going to get rid of this stuff. Don't need it. Who calls browser view source of document? And then it's passing the content document as kapow. Don't want you to do that. I want you to pass the outer window ID. So and then who else calls it? Browser sets. It's only ever called by people who, and as context menu calls it. It's only ever called in Firefox anyways. Okay. It's possible that add-ons might use this function and I might break them. But hopefully it's not too bad. Content documents, kapow. Because I'd rather not, okay, well, suppose they have passed in a document. If a document and cu dot is cross-process wrapper, I don't think checking to see if something is a cross-process wrapper does not send down a kapow message. Then throw new error. What did I even say? Browser. Browser view source of document. Can I accept a kapow as a document? Okay. Otherwise, hang on. If that, then this. Otherwise, we should construct the arguments. Let args. And then browser will be a document. Oh, it's basically the stuff I did up here. Or over here, sorry. Yeah, this stuff. Requester outer window ID. So we pass the browser. Outer window ID. Is there anything else that we need to pass? They didn't give us a URL, but we could get the URL. We have this old function that could get the URL. I mean, what I'm saying is like the old function took a document and was able to extract the URL from it as well, so we can do it the same way. We just have to make sure it's a string and not an NSI URL, which is fine because I'm pretty sure that's what we, yeah, here we go. URL, current URI spec, web nav, current URI spec, web nav. I can probably just like go with browser.currentURI.spec. Pretty sure I can do that. gbrowser.currentBrowser, or sorry, selected browser.currentURI.spec. Yeah, I can just do that. So URL is, whoops, wrong file. Where do I want to be? Here. Let URL equal. Did I honestly use lowercase? I should make it uppercase. Source. It's still early enough that I can sort of bike shed with myself on a bunch of things, like whether or not URL should be uppercased or not. Okay, and then what else? In browser here, we set URL equal to browser.currentURI.spec. Okay, and what else do we need to pass? We don't have a line number, so we just passed a we just passed the document, so we don't have a line number. Deprecated API, a document, or a args or document as well. Args or document API probably document this. The view source dialog param a args or document an object either an object that contains an object or an NSI document. If the latter is a deprecated API that is not supported with E10S, this function will throw if a args or document is a kapow. If a args or document is an object, that object can take the following properties. And then it's basically like this. I'm kind of duplicating a little bit, but I mean, it's a lot of indirection. Browser. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's fine. Else, args equals a args or document, and then that's what we pass. Wait, have I just... You know what? I think I've just done a whole bunch of work I didn't need to do. Shoot, because like I'm doing all this stuff already. I keep putting layers and layers of protection, but like I can just pass that old stuff. I can just pass that old stuff. Except no, hang on, no. I feel better. I feel better now. What a roller coaster. No. The reason that I do it in multiple layers is because there's one layer that I'm thinking about all the other Zool apps. This one is for just for add-ons that are working in Firefox. So I feel better about it now. Then a args. So args. Good. So now I have to change all the call points that call this function, and I will have them use the new mechanism. And that is, there's one under browser context. There's one under browser sets. Here it is. So what I will pass is browser, window G browser selected browser, and then what else will it accept? I keep forgetting. Outer window ID. Right. Outer window ID. Wish I could just like do multiple lines in here. Actually, what I can do is I can change this so that if it'll just take the selected browser, and if what it gets passed is a browser, then hmm, trying to figure out the best way to simplify this. Because who calls browser view source of document? Maybe. Oh, what I could do is like browser view source. And then it just takes a browser. And then this will be a helper function that returns, opens the view source dialog for the source loaded in the currently loaded at the root for the source loaded in the root of the browser. The root loaded in the root document. Top level, I should say top level document. Level document of the browser. Param browser. The browser that we want to load the source of. Okay, so we can just have our caller, because I think this is a common case. View the source of the current page. So then we just pass the browser. The browser selected browser, and that makes that simpler. We change that browser view source. Top gview source utils dot view source browser, and then outer window ID browser dot selected browser dot outer window ID, and then URL is browser dot current URI dot spec. There. That is fine. I think that'll work. So why all the rigmarole? I mean, I'm just trying to make sure that I don't blow up a whole bunch, like any extensions that might use this method. We might want to just deprecate this. It's a kind of a, because it's so old, we have no idea what sort of relies on it. So kind of have to move carefully, so just try not to break the world, which is tricky. Legacy software, am I right? So let's try that. Let's build that, build that. Oh, and there was also a syntax error on line 14. What are you talking about? Line 114. Right here. Oh yeah, definitely there's a syntax error here. I'll just null that out. I guess that doesn't make any sense. We're not even calling this function yet. So build that. Okay, now if I view source, Yahoo! We got an outer window ID. That's great. That's great. CU is not defined in remote browser. So, shoot. So I wonder if utils. Yeah, that's probably fine. Then it will work. So good, we get a message sent down. Class, no interface, DOM, window ID. What does that mean? Might have to do something special. So let's, actually, let's, what do I want to do? I want to what I'd love to do is set a breakpoint in that, in this on load, or the main entry point here. But I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do that without it being open. Let's find out. Let's find out. It might complain, but let's see. Yeah, view source utils I can set a breakpoint in, but if I were to open view source and then go over here, I can probably see the view source thing. Yeah, here, and then will it hit a breakpoint if I do it again? I don't. See, that's the problem. View source. Oh, there it is. But it's back there. And now it's all kind of slow. I don't know why you so slow, but we get a lot of complaints. Some of these look like they're from my website, so I can ignore those. This web navigation is null. And the bindings browser, or the browser binding. So that's not good. I'll have to look into that. Why is web navigation null? Can I use the given object as a weak map key? Alright. So what's the time? It's 2:37. I've been doing this for about an hour and a half. I hope to keep doing this for another 23 minutes or so. I want to carry on until about 3 o'clock. I hope that's alright with you people. Gonna just keep powering through. I think we're making okay progress here. I was hoping, where did I want to be? Get open with serialized arguments, keep compatibility in mind, but others accept object as first argument. I think we're actually down here somewhere. We haven't actually dealt with this. We've done this. We can move this. We have to do actually both of these. So let's put these in chronological order of we skipped ahead a little. So let's do this. So we do have that. We need to do this and then all of these things. So we're actually a little bit behind. Oh, wait, we've done that. Oh, view source. Okay. Yeah, we do that. So we're hey, not so bad. Things are looking better. And then only use compatibility. So that's where we are right now. That's not so bad. We did move forward. Great. Ensure that the view source browser switches from non-remote to remote. If that occurs, that we don't need to reintroduce the frame script. That's yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. So what I'll do is I'll have what'll I do? Inside the frame script, I guess what I'll do is I'll have it count set interval. I think I have access to set interval in here, and I'll just have it go like hello, and I'll do that every second. This is a really dumb test, but then I will also inside view source here, after we've done loading it, I'm going to say set timeout gbrowser.set remove attribute remote, and we'll do that after 5 seconds. Then if we still see the hellos coming from the content process, then we know that the frame script was reloaded. And then what I'll do is put it back. Set attribute, remote, true. So this is a dumb little test. Put that back after 2 seconds. Arbitrary numbers, random numbers. Okay. So I don't see any. Oh, set interval is not defined. Boo. Okay, so what I can do, I believe I added something in that mimics set interval that I can use from here. So this is just for testing. cu.import resource GRE modules. I think it was called timer.jsm. Do I have timer? Toolkit modules. Right? Toolkit components modules. There should be one called timer, and then we have set timeout. It like imports these things that you would expect inside like the window context, but because we're in a JSM, they're not there by default. So I bring those in and then set interval. I believe should work. Okay, load the document. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. I should have actually had it dump like a message, because I'm not entirely certain. Like I saw the hellos keep going, but I need confirmation that here, dump setting browser to remote. And then setting browser to non-remote. And then setting browser to remote. There. It's a dumb little test, but it's quick and dirty. Bring it up. Hello. So it's setting browser to remote. We saw that here. So this is remote, and then it sets it to non-remote. So good. And then it sets it to remote again. This is really good. So we don't have to reload the frame script each time. So that is all I wanted to know. So I will write my finding down here. Switching back and forth does not require us to reload the frame script. I'm pretty sure I've learned that. Like I'm gonna add that to my things I've learned this week, because I intuitively knew it, but now that we've experimented with it, I know. Switching back and forth between remote and non-remote browsers does not require us to reload the frame script. Reload a frame script. So that's good. Great. Good, good, good. Now, one thing I noticed is that we were past the outer window ID, but we didn't get anything else. Like, is that okay? Like, what was I supposed to get? Onload view source. We didn't get a URL. We didn't get a line number. So yeah, all there is the outer window ID. That's probably fine. So let's get rid of all this crap I added for testing. Pardon my language. I said crap. Sorry about that. And I don't need timer anymore inside the frame script. Whoop. Great. So now what I could do is like maybe the best way forward is to like actually see if we can load. Now that we have the outer window ID, we can get a reference on the like the DOM window, the content window. And probably in here, we could just load the source, I think. Let's see if we can do that as an experiment. Because, I mean, that if that doesn't work, if for some reason that's a problem, this whole approach is moot. Like, this is not going to work. So I think there's a way via... I forget what it's called. I used it in webappmanager.jsm, I think. Yay, DXR is working again. Browser modules, web app manager JSM. There was like outer window ID. Get outer window with ID. This is what I can do. So I have services. Let outer window ID equals message.data. That's just a way of destructuring, so I can extract outer window ID. And then get outer window ID. Let content window equal that, and then what do I need to do? If I have the content window, I'm in pretty good shape. Views source.js. So what's the shortest path to displaying the source code with just the document, the content window? I get the page loader, and then what's the arg? What's the arg supposed to be? It's a page descriptor, and I can get the page descriptor from the same technique I used in here, which was it's so hard to find this one. Base content. There you are. Too many things called browser.js. Page descriptor. How did we get that? What we did was we got the interface requester, we got the web nav, and then we got the page descriptor from the web nav and got the current descriptor. So let's try and follow those steps. So this is all kind of garbagey, but let's try it. And requester equals content window query interface. So now I'm starting to use CU and CI, so I can probably do this destructuring thing. Now, what is it? CU utils? Is that how it's done? Sometimes I forget the syntax. You know what? I say sometimes. Every time I forget the syntax. Is it utils CU? Yes, it is. Okay. Utils CU. And then interfaces CI. And then I just do that. So then CI interface requester, and then what did I want to do? I want to get the web nav from it. Let web nav equals requester get interface NSI web navigation. And then what do I want to do? How is NSI web navigation globally available? Where is that even coming from? Is that just something that... Yeah, okay, it's declared right up here. Alright, fine. Weird, but okie dokie. Fuse source, yeah. And then we want to get the... then we want to get the page descriptor. Descriptor equal webnav dot query interface that, and then sh entry equals descriptor dot current descriptor. And then with that, we can do what we do over here with it. So we page loader, G page loader. What are you? It's web nav. Oh, it's actually just descriptor again. So I'm going to call that page loader. And then I will do page loader dot. Oh, but but we want to use the page loader of the current document. So this is something that we can probably shortcut. Entry dot current descriptor. And then what we want as our page loader that we load in is actually this browser, like the one we're inside running this frame script. This is the one that we want to get the page loader for. Now, where do we do stuff like that? Browser content.js, I think. Then we do things like web nav. Where do we do stuff like this? NSI web navigation. Content.js? Maybe it's content.js. I've definitely seen this before. NSI web navigation. From the doc shell. Okay. So we have this globally available doc shell that we can work with. Okay. Doc shell dot so I'll call that other web nav. So let my web nav equal doc shell dot query interface CISI web navigation. I think we just need the page loader on ourselves. We don't actually need the. Am I right? Get web navigation. Let's get web navigation. gbrowser.web navigation. Okay. And it just QIs it to an NSI web page descriptor. So I think I can just do this. NSI web page descriptor. My descriptor. Or I'll call it page loader. Naming. So hard, right? Okay, page loader, load page, and then we'll pass it the SH entry, and then we'll pass it display as source. Who defines that? Where's that from? That's an NSI web page descriptor. So I can do CI NSI web page descriptor dot display as source. So fingers crossed, we might actually get to see some source code from a remote browser without causing unsafe compiler usage, without like hitting the network. That's the hope and the dream. So I'm gonna hit Command U now. And let's see what happens. Nothing. Okay, so what went wrong? I'll bring up my here. Content window is null. Content window is null. So I wasn't actually able to get the outer. I wasn't able to get anything useful here. So let's double check. Maybe I didn't do my deconstruction right. Dump outer window ID is outer window ID. Okay. I think this will be a great end to the stream if I'm able to see some source. So I'm really hoping that that's what happens. Okay. Content window is null. Outer window ID is that, but we're not able to get the content window. Get outer window with ID. So for some reason, huh, weird. So let's do an experiment. The outer window ID is this value. This should be available in the content process. I will open up the content toolbox, which allows me to do magical things. I don't have access to services, so components.utils.import resource gre modules services.jsm. So now I have services.window, was it window mediator get outer window with ID, and then pass it the number. Yeah, it got the window. We should be able to get the window. So this must not be running in the content process then. Is that correct? Let's do an assertion, or not an assertion. Let's test. Process type equals else. We must be running in the content process. Weird. Dump. We're running in the parent process. And it says we're running in the parent process. Okay, so that makes sense. That's why we couldn't find it, because this script is running in the parent process somehow. So the browser must not be remote. Dump setting browser to be remote. I wonder if it's because even, I was seeing some errors about browser child and stuff. Maybe we fail to make it an actual remote browser, and that's a problem. So setting browser to be remote, but we're actually running in the parent process. It gets this problem. Like, the binding is attached, but I'm pretty sure, here, let's double check. So we'll bring up the browser toolbox, and let's open up the view source page. It's pulling in the stuff, and let's find the browser. Where's the browser? Where's that going to be? Browser. There it is. And yeah, because I can see that it is remote, it does have the remote browser binding on it, but I can still see inside of it. So the remote browser binding is definitely not working here. Why not? So I will detach that. So, oh, do I have the binding address right? I think I should. That makes sense. I also feel like I saw, yeah, this is the right URL. Remote browser. I feel like I tried solving this before. Like I got a remote browser loading in the first iteration of my patch for this bug. So maybe let's take a quick brief look at here. What did I do? Browser remote equals true. I use this. Yeah, that's what I wanted. And then I bring in const u. Yep. And then I set remote to true. I get rid of content focus. I had set remote to true in here, but I don't think I need to do that. Content primary, content, ID is content, resource, load page. Remote web navigation, web page Oh, um, where did I see NS no interface? SI web progress DOM window ID. Line 72 of browser child. What is that? Let's see that real quick. Line 72. So maybe this just doesn't work for some reason. Because a web progress didn't get constructed properly? Maybe? CI to an NSI web progress. Load page, page descriptor, load page. I don't think I'm getting just, that's not important. Remote web navigation. Why doesn't that work? So here's the mystery. The mystery is how come the browser, despite having the remote attribute, why is it not remote? And it looks like it makes an effort. Like it tries to load this browser child thing. And I wonder if that bails out. Let's make it do stuff. Let's make it like say browser.child.js is being loaded. This must be happening in the content process. And then remote browser, which is here. It does that in the constructor browser child. In the constructor. I wonder if something in here is going wrong. Attempting, you know what? I could probably set a breakpoint in here. So maybe I'll do that. Remote browser. Constructor. Oh, wait. Maybe I should do that in the context of this so that the breakpoint actually takes. Constructor. Okay. And it drops my breakpoint all the way down there. What? What is... What? What? F it. Alright, so no breakpoint. Constructing a remote browser. And then if we exit, then remote browser successfully constructed. And then what do we do? We'll quit. Build that toolkit content. Build it all. I really want to end this stream having some view source show up. That's my dream. That's what I really hope for. So, setting browser to be remote. It constructs a remote browser, and then browser child is being loaded, and then remote add-ons parent throws a JavaScript error saying you cannot use the given object as a weak map key. So we've successfully applied the binding. So XBL is much easier, believe it or not, to inspect using the old standby tool DOM inspector, which I think I still have. Extensions DOM inspector. Okay. Now open up. So Work the old way. Don't be fooled by the source that you viewed there. That just magically, for some reason, it works for the non-E10S case. We need it to work for the E10S case. That's actually good if it worked in the non-E10S case. You know, that's not so bad. I can live with that. But I really want it to work here. Is DOM inspector broken? Please say DOM inspector isn't broken. Uh, DOM inspector's broken. No. Okay. Okay. Back to the toolbox. Is there anything that that my tool here can do to help me figure out what's going wrong here? So let's look at it again. The browser does indeed have the remote equals true on it. Pretty sure it doesn't need anything else. Let's double check on that. Content primary. Does it have content primary? Yeah, it does. Content primary. Message. What does message mean? What is message for? That's new. Maybe that's what I'm missing. Message. So let's go back. I don't think I want to put it in that group. I just want, what is message equals true used for? So get the parent. And then the blame. I need to figure out where this was introduced. This message equals true business. And what it does. Hopefully, I'm hoping that by figuring out when this was introduced, I can figure out what it does. Because maybe this is what's missing. And maybe another shortcut would be to just try it. Instead of attempting to understand what it does, to just apply it to the view source browser. Like, I could just do that here. I could say message equals true. Is that what we need? I have no idea. Let's find out. Doom boom 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 boom. And doesn't seem to make much of a difference. Content window is still null. This happens twice, which is, oh, I guess because of the initial tab. Browser child, why do I get the feeling that this is somehow related? What does it take to make a browser remote? Well, I think there are other remote browsers that are used, like the social API browser in here, I believe is also in the remote case. Remote, I think. Let's check them out. Let's see what other people have had to do. Such attribute remote. Social. Yeah, frameworker. append. Remote browser. Browser promise. And new worker is created. Send async message framework init. Oh, you know what it is? I don't think we can just like set the attribute and call it a day. I'm pretty sure we actually have to remove the browser from the document and then re-add it. That would explain it, if that were the case. So I'm going to get rid of that again. App content. Okay, so let's try that experiment. Let parent node equals gbrowser dot parent node, and then gbrowser dot remove, and then set the attribute, and then re-add it to the DOM. So parent node dot I'll append child for now, although I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to insert it in the same spot that we got it from. That's the equivalent of update remoteness that we use in tab browser. Whoop. Excuse me. Something happened. Hey, it's happening in the content process. Good. Okay, so that was the thing. So we need to, now our script is loading in the content process. We still don't have any source. It's 12 minutes past 3. I might take it to 3:30. I really want some source to show up. We need to, when flipping remoteness, make sure to remove and re-add browser to DOM. Okay, right now I'm doing it sloppily because I really want to get to this thing, get to the finish line here. So in the script here, we do get the outer window. So we should be showing the source now. I think, because we did all that stuff. So do we get to that point? Error not initialized. Send async message. That wasn't there before. So we might have to wait for the DOM to update before we can send it a message. Shoot. Okay. So the remoteness will change. Okay, let's just shortcut this, and what I'll do is I will, because I really want to see this working, I'm gonna do a timer. Now I'll give the message manager time to set up, I guess, and the process to get all hooked up. I think that'll do the job. I'm so desperate to see this view source stuff show up. I want it. Let me have it, please. And it's still not initialized. What? As error not initialized. Maybe now I do need the message thing. Maybe I do need this. It's unexplainable. I don't know what's happening here. Bill McCloskey, Bill M added that. And where's the parent? Annotate. Nothing. Still nothing. Error, it's not initialized. And I wonder again if it's in here, it's not initialized maybe because something's gone wrong in here. No interface. And what was that again? That was line 74. So what if I do this? No interface, DOM window ID. What is DOM window ID? DOM window ID ext IDL is from NSI Web Progress. And NSI Web Progress get DOM window ID. Why would that ever return no interface? Because the window, it might not be able to get the DOM window? Something in here might be failing. That'd be so weird. Let's try this. Just to make it work. Let DOM window ID equal. Hello type DOM window ID. Okay, that's sloppy, but I'm just so desperate to see it happen. Still trying to get the... Okay, here's the blame. Felipe added message true. Good, and this is when it actually happened. And that's from a back out. Ha. This message. So maybe I should just ask somebody. I will ping Felipe, who added it back. Too much chasing my tail. And now I just added a syntax error on line 73, right there, because it expects a semicolon. Of course that's broken. Syntax error, missing identifier in catch, so it still doesn't like that. Felipe has just ponged me. Hey, what do you know what the message attribute does on the Zool browser element? You know what I should have done? Zool browser element is checked the documentation. Maybe there is a No, it doesn't have it. Okay. That's good. I would have felt rather silly if it had just been sitting there in the documentation. So send async message is for some reason not initialized. What the dealio? We definitely had it working before. You saw it. You were there. You were with me. So what's going on? Oh, maybe it's because I need a new message manager? Oh, you know what? Yeah, GRAS message manager load frame script. Okay, so we didn't actually prove this to be true because here's the problem. Here's the problem. Before when I said that, okay, yeah, the frame script doesn't have to be reloaded, I had not actually done it correctly because I hadn't removed the browser from the DOM and put it back in. So I think we need to reprove that first thing. And second of all, as soon as I change the browser, the message manager needs to be the old message manager reference is no good. I have to use the new one. So I don't think I need this timeout anymore. Just re-adding the element to the DOM is synchronous, so I think we'll be okay. Should have known. Should have known. Nothing. What the dealio? Why didn't that work? Why? 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 Um. Hmm. I don't see any, like, errors, though. I mean, I had swallowed up the error inside browser child here. You know what? Let me just... I really don't feel comfortable with that. Let me put that back. Um, Now what I need to do... What I need to do is find out why load descriptor or load page might be failing in the remote case, and I don't think I can do that without diving into, like, native code. Oh, you know what? We were supposed to be getting here. Something has gone wrong between now and here because we never dumped this message. Or, yeah, we never get here. So, dump got outer window ID, dump loading page, and then I'm gonna wrap this whole thing in a try catch so that I can, like, dump any errors that I might hit that might for some reason not be pumped out to the console. This is some sloppy work here I'm doing, but I'm so desperate. I want to see that view source. Come on. Come on. Child error. No interface. So, do we not even send the message? You're killing me. Come on. Let's do this. How many times have I said come on during this entire session? Felipe is not sure what the message attribute does. Okay, well that makes two of us. So I'm not alone. Message sent. You know what? You know why I don't think it's working? I don't think it's working because this does need to get reloaded. in the event that we switch the in the event that we switch the type. Shoot. Let's just prove it. Hey, we got the source. We did it. We got there. Hey, and we are down to the wire. There were only 4 minutes remaining. So, okay, let me explain what happened. Um, this is the script that we use to respond to the message that we're sending down, and then in here I decide whether or not we should be using a remote browser or not, based on whether or not the browser that we want to view the source from is remote. And if we do, then we have to remove the browser element from the DOM, set the attribute to true, and then re-add it to the DOM. And I thought we wouldn't have to reload the frame script, but we do. Otherwise, the content, the frame, excuse me, the remote browser doesn't have anything set up to receive the messages that we're about to send down. So I'm gonna have to find something. I don't like repeating myself here, but like I'm gonna have to find some mechanism around that. But like, look, this is source that is, well, hopefully not off the network. And you know what? I can prove it. I can try and prove it anyways. Um, uh, I'm going to try and prove it by the original test case, which was to go to that like poetry page that does like a post. Do I have a link for it? Do I have a link for it? Oh, I even misspelled that. That's great. Gave me a mechanism. So I'm going to go here. Okay. So if this works the way I think it should, then I should get the Kittens of Gilgamesh Make You Twitch in my source. No, I didn't. No, we must have re-requested it off the network. Ah. What? What? Well, shoot. Good news is that the good news is that we've got this stuff showing up, and now I just need to figure out why we're still hitting the network here. But you know what? I'm going to save that for next week. So, it doesn't. We need to reload the script. So, find a graceful way to load the script into the same process, into the browser that we create, and only have to do it once. That shouldn't be too bad. We might start without a browser in the document, and then like re-add it, and then load the script, and in the remote case, set the remote attribute. We might do something like that. There might be a little flicker though, so that's a thing to consider. But we might be able to get around it by like setting some background colors. Then the other thing, when flipping remoteness, make sure to remove and re-add browser to DOM in a nice way, because the way I currently do it is kind of sloppy. And then the other thing I want to do is like find out why we're still hitting the network. Sad face. Okay. So, you know what? I have a bunch of sad faces in here, but I'm feeling pretty good. I feel pretty good that we got the source to come up and that this is a remote browser. Let me just reassure myself and all of you out there that that is indeed a remote browser being loaded there. Because if not, well then I will for real sad face. Yeah, it is a remote browser that we have no access to. So that's good, and we're loading the source in it, even though for some reason we seem to be hitting the network. So great job everybody. We got pretty far. We checked off a number of things here, And we're going to continue next week on the... All right, let me see here. Let me switch to me. Hello. We're going to come back next week. We're going to keep leaning on this. I feel like we're getting reasonably close. Next week, because I'm for some reason still hitting the network, I might have to use like GDB or Xcode or LLDB or something to like get into the binary and figure out what's going wrong. But I think it's going to be exciting. So thank you so much for watching this episode of The Joy of Coding. I hope it was entertaining, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.